He's in the Mako boat.
He did win Heat 1A, and he did it after getting rear-ended on his way to the start line. So even though he had a fender bender, or should I say a wing bender, as you can see, he's only got one wing there, he still won the heat.
Paul Becker again still trying to coax as much as he can Mike out of that old boat.
And this is the oldest boat in the water, but they have lengthened it about 18 inches last year, and it suddenly changed the performance altogether. It's a short sponson boat, an early Jones design, but it's quick.
A third place finish in 1B for Bob Estes in the Graham Trucking boat UL 33.
He's an ex-fighter pilot, and he may need some of that pilot experience because this wind is getting bigger, stronger, and stronger.
Now, no word on why this is the case yet, but in the Power Punch boat 83, it seems as though Will Muncie has given the seat up to Joe Souza.
Well, Joe has driven some Unlimiteds from a few years back, had some Grand National boats that he raced as well. He's been around, and he knows a couple of things about this Lake Washington race course, so that probably is a pretty good choice.
And finally, Mike Sadlon, they did not run in Heat 1A because of a broken motor. It's obvious, Chip, they got something fixed on that UL 89 boat.
Well, the boat is called No Excuses, and he can't have any now because with no points from the first heats, he's got to do well here to have a chance in the final.
All right, so, Michael, we have the two winners of the earlier heats going into this one, likely side by side. And take a look now. Those breezes, as Chip was saying, really kicking up.
The wind is going to be an issue, Pat O'Day. The guys are down on the lower end of the course, which means that they may come around this race course with a little bit of speed this time because they got enough time to get up there without having to back way down.
And you know what is really fun about this heat is, you know, Greg Hopp is nearly invincible. Can someone upset him in this heat? That would be fun to watch because he is the guy to beat.
One guy to watch is this guy on the far inside, Paul Becker. Old boat, but that guy all year long just goes after him. This is Paul Becker right here, and it seems like all year long he's been able to get the inside and take a boat that really isn't all that competitive and run it right by people. So watch Paul Becker. He's always exciting.
He did a great job in Tri-Cities in a preliminary heat and beat them all down into the first corner to go on to win. All right, up into the upper corner they are as they're going to make their start. Becker on the inside, Hopp in the second lane, and the Mako of Bremerton in the third lane, and they're across the line, and the Mako gets a great start with a lot of speed. Here, and there's Greg Hopp just inside of him there at the center of your screen. We got four boats coming down into that first corner with a whole lot of horsepower. And take a look at them as they come through there, Chip. They're looking pretty good.
These two boats on the outside got a long way to go, but they're certainly the fastest boats. Slower boats inside, shorter distance. Let's see which one works.
Off the corner this time, it's going to be Hopp. It looks like the older boat had to give up a little bit of space. He's been passed by a couple of folks, as a matter of fact. Greg Hopp now has your lead, but on the outside, that's the sixth boat, the Mako of Bremerton. Al Carson's putting on a great boat race. It's windy up in that corner. See if everybody gets through there all right. Carson's on the outside, is keeping those RPMs up as he chases down that yellow boat on the right of your screen. Greg Hopp.
He's going a long distance further out. You know, for him to stay with him going that far outside, that's got to be one fast boat. But look inside, they're still with him.
As they head down into that lower corner at the end of lap number one, it is still that boat, Greg Hopp out front, the Mike's Hard Lemonade, and take a look at how the Mako of Bremerton is pulling up on him. He's gained a little through that corner, but he's taking a much wider track, and that's where the acceleration coming off that corner on the reverse view that you see now from the opposite shoreline shows you just exactly how much speed that Hopp has got with that boat as the number 6 hull, the Mako of Bremerton, tries to stay with him.
And what this is telling Al Carstensen is that when he goes into the final, he's got to be inside of Greg Hopp. He just demonstrated to himself that he cannot beat him from the outside. So he's going to make a mental note. That's one boat I've got to be inside of.
Going to be hard running around him, that's for sure. A little bit of traffic from the trailing boat. The No Excuse just coming across the line, ending its first lap. One more to go now for Mr. Hopp, and he's out front and has established himself in the lead. And it looks as though it might be wiser now if Al Carstensen just kind of lets him have it.
Just let him have it. Slow down. The city of Bremerton saw you perform beautifully. And wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day you can try and get them.
That's right. Tomorrow you let it all hang out. This time you just make sure nothing hangs out because you might not have enough for the final. Okay, down the back chute. Mr. Hopp owns it. And he will win and win reasonably handily now He's listening, of course, Chip, for the Gremlins, and even though you have a lead like that, as we noticed in the past races, sometimes it'll give up on you.
It will, and one thing these drivers are noting now is who do I have to be inside of the final? You don't necessarily want to be on the inside lane because bad things can happen in there, but you want to be inside of the boats that are as faster than you are.
Another victory for the Mike's Hard Lemonade. Happy-go-lucky across the checkered flag line now. Second place, a very nice performance by Al Carstensen in the Mako of Bremerton. Stands that one tail fin that was clipped off in his first heat of the day. And third coming down now is the Graham Trucking, and that's Bob Estes. He takes the checkered flag, third overall.
I got to tell you, Greg Hopp gets such a wonderful ride in that boat. Is that thing beautifully balanced or what?
They have done a great job making that little boat handle almost any kind of a race course. Paul Becker comes across fourth place now.
He not only has the acceleration, he's got the ride.
The Mike's Hard Lemonade team that you're looking at right now is very much like the Elam team. They have a ton of experience behind them. They just didn't arrive on the scene and go fast. These are guys that have a lot of water under their bottoms, and they've really now paying off. So I would look at these two boats, Mike's Hard Lemonade in the lights and the Elam and the Unlimiteds, as being two very professional, experienced teams.
Joe Souza crosses the line to bring up the rear on this heat, but gets the power punch scored for Mr. Muncie, the 83 boat, picking up some additional points.
Mike, do we know why Joe Souza's in the boat? Do we know why Will Muncie isn't in the boat?
Did not get any information as to why Bill, there you go, there's a Freudian slip, but why Will did not make it to the starting line himself. He seemed to have been just fine after his last heat.
Yeah, I'm just getting the word that apparently Will Muncie had promised Joe Souza that he would get to run at least one heat. And usually what that means is that's somebody that's really helped him out, you know, worked late nights, and this is his reward to get to run a heat at Seafair.
So here are the results from Heat 2B, with Greg Hopp continuing his stranglehold on the points lead here in 2006. Mike's Hard Lemonade comes out on top. Al Carstensen, though, gave him a run for a while. Mako of Bremerton in second place. Critical Logic, Graham Trucking, Power Punch, and No Excuses rounding out the field here in 2B. Back to the award stage. Here again is John Lynch.
Steve, I guess it's second verse, same as the first. Rob Graham presenting the trophy for Heat 2B again today to Greg Hopp, the winner in the Mike's Hard Lemonade Happy-Go-Lucky. Rob?
Just like to congratulate Greg. Also like to say him and his dad have been friends of mine for years, and I'm happy for him. But Greg, could you just give me one race, please? Congratulations.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, thanks for Rob for stepping up and sponsoring the race and the heat. And like Rob says, we go way back. He sponsored my first 7-liter, and we've turned it into an unlimited light. And so he's good people. I'm glad he's still here. So, and I'd like to thank the entire crew and Mike's Hard Lemonade, and rock on for tomorrow. Woohoo!
Greg Hopp, the winner of Heat 2B. He is in the final heat. Back to you, Steve.
And Greg Hopp will be driving in the upcoming race. That from yesterday, we're back to today. Live racing, unlimited light, make that unlimited Heat 3A in just a moment, live from Lake Washington.
Heat 3A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Oh Boy Oberto, America's #1 beef jerky, and a proud sponsor of Seafair, and is presented for Seafair by Barthausen Consulting Engineers.
We're back to live racing now. Heat 3A for the Unlimiteds. Graham Trucking, Oh Boy Alberto, the Fairweather Masonry, Acura of Bellevue, Miss Beacon Plumbing, and Todd Haas American Dream. Looking at the course, the boats are already out there scoring up. So we've got some work to do to tell you about the drivers and these boats. Let's start with the Graham Trucking boat, Michael. A penalty in the last heat.
To get some points, or he may not see the final heat. He's not exactly had a real good race. Got something flapping back there right now that doesn't look right. Looks like one of the deck covers is coming up.
That'll slow things down for Ken Muscatel. The Oh Boy Alberto, steady Steve David. A second and a third, Chip.
Looks like he's in the final with 5:25. Just can't do anything stupid.
Kind of a disappointing race earlier for the U10 Fairweather and J.W. Myers, Mike.
Yeah, he's got to make up and save some face here. He's got a great brain trust down there. He's got a very fast boat, but he didn't show it the last time out.
Bill Rocky, is he going to show it this time out?
Well, he's going to do it with a new canard. If you notice, it's red. He broke broke his in the last heat, and he had to make a trade with the Formula Camp. He's got a new canard, but it's red.
All right, now you're looking at the Acura of Bellevue boat, J. Michael Kelly, and Chip, they're making repairs on the run on this thing.
This local boy's got to win. Otherwise, he's not going to be in the final.
How about the Beacon Plumbing boat, the U-37? What do you need to say, Mike, besides 2 first-place finishes?
2 for 2. He's looking for 3 for 3.
And Gard Swanson, who's been chasing injured drivers and the rest, Jean Thoreau, may be now the favorite today.
Yeah, absolutely. I just talked with him. He's excited. The crew's excited. The owners are excited. They want this race. They want this heat. They want it all today, Steve.
And finally in the U100, Chip, Greg Hopp again jumps out of the unlimited light and into the unlimited.
But he's got to win. If he doesn't win here, just like Acura Bellevue, his day is done.
And it looks like boats now are going very slow, scoring up. We're inside of a minute. Pat O'Day back to unlimited racing.
Well, you know, if you want to cheer for the boat for from your neighborhood, J. Michael Kelly's from Puyallup and Greg Hopp from Snohomish, J.W. Murphy, Seattle, Muscatel, Seattle. The rest of them, well, Theorette's from Maple Grove, Quebec, and Steve Davis from Lighthouse, Florida. There's the neighborhoods.
And boy, it's a close neighborhood up there as they go up into that upper corner now with 33 seconds left on the clock. And remember, it is the score-up buoy at the exit of this turn. You must be committed to lane by that time, and it looks like Greg Hopp wants that inside real badly. He's been creeping. Greg Hopp in the blue boat in the center of your screen there. Looks like he's going to take lane number 1. On the outside and coming real strong is the Acura of Bellevue, and that boat is the driven by J. Michael Kelly. He wants to have some speed from the outside as he gets here. They're coming pretty quick to the line, though they may be early. He's going to be too soon.
It's a good start.
Oh,
not a legal start. I don't think J. Michael Kelly is a legal starter. The rest probably are, but J. Michael Kelly, I think, was a second too soon. There's Steve David leading them through the corner with just about a nose length is all. And on the inside, it is J.W. Myers with a whole lot of speed now as he cuts the turn, leaving just a lane for the U100 and Greg Hopp. Graham Trucking has gone dead in the water. That's Muscatel in the lower corner, but down the back chute now it is this yellow boat with the red canard. J.W. Myers pulling out ahead now in the Todd Haas presents the Fairweather Masonry. And right outside of him is this boat. It's the Old Boy Oberto, and Stephen David is keeping the pressure on as they come off the corner here on lap number 1.
I don't know what happened to the Beacon Plumbing and John's Theoret at the start, but he's way back behind the pack.
When you saw J.W. Myers come up that back stretch, the boat was very light on the right side. It's a beautiful boat ride, mind you, but it's right there on the edge. He can't get any more air under that boat.
J.W. through the lower corner now in the U10. Coming off that exit pin with the lead, second place, and trying to stay on top of him, keep the pressure on all the way, make him think about it. That's Stephen David. He just made a lane change, went to the inside. You're looking at Jean Theorette's view from his cockpit. There are rooster tails in front of him. Haven't seen that earlier in the day, but he's seeing it for the first time now in third place.
What John Theorette's doing now is basically practicing. He's practicing for the final. He's trying different lanes through the corner, which ones seem to get rough, because he's in the final, so he's just practicing for the main.
All right, coming down to get the white flag now with one more lap to go. That will be the Fairweather and Fairweather Masonry. The Todd Haas boat being driven by J.W. Myers now, who has stretched it out to a rooster tail and a half lead over Old Boy Oberto.
J.W. Myers growing up here in Seattle, winning a bunch of heats here in the preliminaries, and I think he's got a real shot in the final. And why I say that is not so much his speed, but how well the boat's riding.
Down the back chute, J.W. Myers out front. Everybody got white flags that last time around. Second place. The water's getting pretty rough down there for the Old Boy Oberto at the midway point up the back chute.
The U13 has slowed way down. J. Michael Kelly is struggling to maintain his third place position.
Now let's take a look here, because as J.W. Myers comes down, will he get the checker or will he get the white? And right now, the white flag is showing, not the checkered flag. So J.W. Myers has one more lap to go. Checker goes out for the Old Boy Oberto.
That's going to help Steve David
wins
a lot. That's going to help Steve David now towards that national championship he's looking for. He's garnering points.
And Steve
That's
David's
400.
got damage to his boat. You can see a fairing is pointing out backwards. He's losing one of his tail feathers out there right now. There's also damage to J.W. Myers' canard. That bright red canard is bent up and broken. So there may have been a little bit of contact. The officials are buzzing about it on the radio right now. We're going to have to sort this out, but that means the second place boat is the 13 boat, the KIRO Bellevue, J. Michael Kelly.
Now, I think he got a white flag. I think they just gave him the white flag. He may also have jumped that gun.
I think right now, Mike, they're saying Beacon Plumbing, Jean Thierret, is the second place boat, I believe.
Yep, they just did say that. Thank you for correcting that, Steve. Yeah, there was a gun jump on the 13 boat, and so Jean Thierret is the second place boat. The leader was the Oh Boy Oberto. They're physically all over the race course because once you start going to the rule book and looking things up, it doesn't make any difference where their position is on the water anymore, Pat O'Day. It's where it is in the list of the judge and the bailiff.
Yeah, they just missed that start by an eyelash. I was looking at the clock. It said 0. It looked like they were right there, but
Graham Trucking gets the checkered flag now. Kenny Muscatel does finish the race.
J.W. Myers damage, that's called the front canard, and you use that wing to adjust the attitude of the boat. And remember, I think it was damaged already, so they've got a big repair if he's going to be ready for the final. Let's take a look at that start again, and we can see if we can see where they jumped the gun. It was very close. They were pushing it hard. The boats that were pushing it hard were 3,
all right, 3/10 of a second to
slow motion,
1 second, 0. Oh, yes,
there's
he's
the one.
right there. He just an instant too soon.
You know, for folks at home, imagine trying to go 180 miles an hour and hit a line perfectly. I mean, it's a really hard thing to do from, you know, a mile away. So it's a real art. Now, there's damage to this boat. I believe the fairing, the front canard, I believe, is damaged on that boat.
Yeah, he's got sponson damage, too, it appears.
There it is. Sponson damage. It's a hole. That's actually a hole. So even if he qualifies for the final, which is still questionable, that's a big repair to make.
And Mike, again, talking to some officials now, they're trying to keep and sort all this out you were talking about. Now it looks like that they're saying the American Dream with Greg Hopp gets the second and Beacon slides back into third with Jean Thierret. So we're again efforting all those things. Looked like it was almost a photo there at the end for second and third. So those are the things that they're looking at, and it's just part of a day. It's part of maybe the weirdest day I think I've ever had out here on the lake today.
Yeah, this has a real strange feel to it. I don't like that at all. It has a real odd feel to it. But one thing's for sure, notwithstanding all the other goofy stuff, the race seems to be coming to Steve David and the Oh Boy Oberto.
And he just seems to lengthen his lead and all these points. Maybe lengthen that lead a little bit, at least in the Drivers' Championship from Chopper 7. The great pictures of the finger piers here in Stan Sayers pits, and the boats are looking to come back in as they will be lifted out of the water in a minute. We will get those results for you and have much more racing. We've got Heat 3B for the Unlimiteds, and if it's as confusing as this one, we could be here all night. Don't go away.
Heat 3A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair has been brought to you by Oh Boy Oberto, America's #1 beef jerky.
He's damaged. A whole lot of boats were damaged in this one, but he's also a winner, and that's got to feel good for the Oh Boy Oberto and Steve David. That's your Geico photo finish.
And Michael, there was actually a photo finish between the second and third boat that we're checking on right now. Those two boats could actually be flipped in position. We do know Oberto, we believe, is the winner. Beacon Plumbing, we think, might have come in third, and we think maybe the U100 boat might have been in that second place fight, even though it shows as number 6 there. So that's why they call them unofficial results, friends. Let's get the word from Guard Swanson down in the pits with the winner.
Thanks a lot, Steve David. Great race for you, but a wing strut problem.
Oh, we've got lots of struts for the Oberto, thank heavens. We're in great shape. We're ready for the final, and Oberto's ready to win this thing this afternoon.
Hey, way to go.
Thank you so much. And thanks to Oberto, Dorothy, and Art, and everybody over at the house, too.
Hey, and way to get that plug in, too.
Thank you very much.
All right, Steve.
Still some work to do, as you said. As the work continues here, we get set because we've got more racing. Heat 3B for the Unlimiteds. Stay with us from the shores of Lake Washington here on KIRO 7. Well, the party continues along the shoreline, but the boats and the drivers, they're just trying to figure out what's next. And right now, we are in about a 5-minute delay because, Mike Fitzsimmons, you've been told there's some pieces of boats out there on the water.
Yeah, we still have some fiberglass floating. In fact, we'll take a look at one of those pieces that's floating out there right now. There it is. That's a part of one of the, that's the Acura boat that left some of its debris out there, and you can't run over that. It'll cause some damage. But, you know, this whole thing started back when the fire started on the 21 boat, because all the firefighters were dispatched to work on that process, even those who were in the pits when they recovered the boat. And so as we got up to time to start this heat, none of the boats in Heat 3A had been fueled timely. And as a result, they were in quite an angst to try to get their fuel to get into the race. The 13 boat was the last one into the water, just got fuel, put the cowling on, and almost didn't make it. And several of the teams were very unhappy about the kind of pressure that they were under to try to get in the race. They asked for a hold. They got a brief hold, very brief period of time. But, of course, they're trying to keep this schedule on the clock, as it were. And so there was a little anxiety going into that whole situation, not to suggest that it contributed to all the busted pieces, but it wasn't a good frame of mind to begin with.
He was the last boat to get in the water, but he was the first one to cross the line. Unfortunately, just a millisecond too soon.
It was just a millisecond. That last second was just fading from the digital display as he hit the
nevertheless,
line.
they've had quite a tough time. You know, they've had all sorts of damage over the weekend, to say nothing of the damage they had last weekend on the Columbia River to Tri-Cities and putting that boat back together. But they got a couple of fourth-place finishes, and they'll either be in the Connie or maybe they'll even make the final.
We're going to have to do some hull repair first to make it to anything else. But, of course, now there's another issue here coming into this next heat, gentlemen, that's kind of interesting, too. They've had a talk with Terry Troxel in the 99 boat, which is, of course, the Lake Ridge paving boat. And have told Terry they do not want him to drive in lane 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, he's a Gold Cup winner. He has been victorious in a number of races. Also had a couple of small strokes. Whether any of that is connected, they have told him, stay outside. He's been told by the referee, you may not start inside.
I think that's a precaution, and I think it makes a lot of sense. For Terry's sake and for everyone's sake out there, I think Terry's fine. I talked to him. The speech is a little bit slowed, but he's made a remarkable recovery. And God knows he knows how to drive an unlimited hydroplane.
And he's not happy about being held outside.
No,
he doesn't care about that at all.
He wouldn't be at all, but for all of his friends in Gig Harbor, he's here, he's performing, and he is in good health.
And one other note, you're going to see the two former Budweiser boats, the two red boats, the 5 and the 7 boat, both of which are, of course, the Formula.com and .com 2, and they will be in this same heat. Now, in years past, if there were two boats, if Chip and I are driving a team, for example, and he's in one heat, I'd get put in the next one. Here, under the American Boat Racing Association rules, there is no such rule, so team boats can go out there and run.
They can gang up on the Elam.
And there's the gang now, right there.
By the way, Jeff Bernard, our young driver, has turned the fastest lap of the day here today, Mike, in Heat 2A in the U7 formula. He turned the second lap at 146.044. Quickest lap of the day.
And these guys are the dark horses. They've been kind of laying back, kind of quiet, but you notice that when the racing's going on, they're right up there with the leaders. So
they are.
You got to watch these.
In fact, guys, let us get down to that pit area and talk to the crew chief. Our Guard Swanson's down there with the Formula boats. Guard?
Well, it's kind of a weird situation here. John Rice, the crew chief. Tell me a little bit about what this crew's thinking about right now. You got two boats going head-to-head.
Well, we're thinking that we got to run them both really hard to have a chance for the final. We still don't know what the ruling was on the earlier penalty there for the 7 boat. So the 5 boat, we've been kind of struggling with the handling problem, rudder problem all day. So strategy-wise, let's go out and win, you know, try and get both boats 1 and 2. We got, you know, Bill Walk and Jimmy King, who's been just running exceptionally well this year. Those guys are just doing awesome. So it's going to be very, very tough heat.
You don't sound real happy right now, a little disappointed how the day's gone?
Oh, I'm happy they both still fit the trailer. All the big red pieces are still there. So, no, I'm happy about that. Jeff Bernard's a really good young shoe, and I'm sorry that we haven't been able to give him a, you know, absolutely perfect boat ride this weekend. And yeah, I'm a little disappointed in that.
All right, good luck in the next heat.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Verlaine.
Happy birthday, Berlin.
All right, we all concur. Happy birthday. There is our view from the West Marine log boom camera. As everybody is just enjoying the sun, they're going to be looking at more boat racing and then looking up to the sky at the Blue Angels coming up here shortly. We've got another heat of Unlimited still to come. Heat 3B from Lake Washington, and what a spectacular sight it is from Chopper 7.
And now,
we're ready to go racing again. Unlimited Heat 3B, and let's take a look at the storylines we'll be following in this one. Needs some points. You bet Dave Villwock does in the Elam boat. Can he get them this time? How about the teammates who are going to be battling each other? Former Bud boats, the Formula.coms. And is piston power enough power to win another heat? All the stories in 3B.
Heat 3B of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is presented for Seafair by Chevrolet and American Revolution.
Here we go, taking a look at the lineup for 3B, the Elam Plus, Dave Villwock, Acura of Seattle, FormulaBoats.com 1 and 2, the Miss Car Pros, and the Miss Lake Ridge Paving, that boat that will probably be staying outside. Speaking of outside, there are the boats on the course here along the shores of Lake Washington. And here are your drivers and your boats as we have, well, almost 4 minutes before we go racing. Dave Villwock, it has been a real up-and-down kind of weekend for him, Mike.
So far it has. He needs a clean heat here and 400 points to feel good about the final heat. But if he doesn't get first place, he's going to be seeing red. Lots of it.
This is unusual. Dave Villwock still looking for his first win of the weekend, Bill.
Exactly what they're concentrating on. They switched an engine, and Dave, coming out onto the dock last heat, was asking me who won that last heat, because they're that concerned about who's got how many points.
And that is the name of the game right now, points. Here's the Acura of Seattle with Jimmy King. The Piston Power 1 Heat 2A, Chip.
If you're Jimmy King, you got to ask yourself, do I take on Dave Villwock now, beat him and keep him out of the final, or I just play it cool, race him when we get to the final?
Now we talk about a couple of those red boats. This one, the Formula.com with Jeff Bernard at the controls.
And as you heard the crew chief say, this boat's having a few handling problems. Got a driver who's very game, but unfortunately the boat may not be up to the driver's talents.
And Guard, we heard about birthday wishes a moment ago, but how about wishes for a good finish here for one of these boats?
Yeah, when I was talking to John Rice, the crew chief, he goes, look, we want a good finish, but he's starting to run out of parts like props. They want to score some points because they're in the standings to win a lot of things this year, guys.
All right, Guard. The other Formula boat with Mike Allen at the controls got a penalty the last time around, Chip.
He still looks pretty safe with 469 points. A third-place finish would probably do him just fine here.
And the Car Pros boat, the U9. Mike, Chris Bertram snatches a second-place win for the Rick Carella team.
That kind of got handed it to him. With this company, he's going to have to earn everything he can get in this heat.
All right, and finally, Chip, the Lake Ridge Paving and Terry Troxel again, just trying to stay out of trouble.
The birthday boy has been told he's got to stay on the outside. I can't see how he can make the final from there.
Well, let's take a look at the course, and with almost 2 minutes to go, the weather, just great, 77 degrees. The course is still fairly calm, but the winds, I can feel it up here, Chip, might be just picking up just a touch.
It is. It's coming from the northeast, which shouldn't be too much of a problem unless it keeps building.
And Pat O'Day, as we get set to go racing once again, we hear the speed start to pick up, the whine of these turbines.
Well, you hear the whine of that Allison piston engine as it goes right by the start-finish line. And good battle coming up with him and Villwock, and it's just another sensational heat of racing. Mount Baker's looking at us from the north. The breeze is hardly existent, and they're in the backstretch and starting to score up, Mike.
Again, just sort of spread out up there, trying to get up to the upper corner with enough time to throttle up and get the acceleration curve going. It doesn't look like Dave Villwock is in the lane he wants to be in. He's on the inside again. Last time he did that, he wished he hadn't. but he appears to go. Now he slipped to lane number 2 now. He's got a wake inside of him now, and it looks like that's one of the Formula boats. That's going to be the Formula boat number 7, Mike Allen in the formulaboat.com. It looks like Dave Villwock will take the second lane now. Outside of him is going to be Jimmy King. The real question here is whether that Allison can show the Elam something, because that's one of the guys they're going to have to test themselves against. Jimmy King is staying a little on the wide side of the 4 lane right now as he comes around and starts to throttle up. And, of course, on the far outside, it is Terry Troxel, as he has been told to stay out there. Actually, Troxel's going to start in the 4 lane. Here they come. And it looks like we're going to have an even and fair start. Awful clean there. Everybody's right at the line within a second or so of the final tick. And leading them down from the 4 or 5 lane on the outside, it is the Allison boat, the Acura of Seattle. But now we've got 3 abreast, and on the inside with the advantage, that would be Dave Villwock.
Dave Villwock's actually in lane 2, and I think that's right where he wants to be. He's got enough boat speed that he can handle both these boats from the inside, so I think Dave Villwock should be in great shape here.
They're upset with Mr. Troxel already for not holding a lane, and he's dead in the water on the lower corner. The judges told him they wanted him outside of the 4 lane, and already he's upset them. So we've got a boat race coming in the upper corner now. 3 of them up there, leading it in lane 2 in the middle of the pack. That's the orange boat, the Elam Plus, but on the inside, and given a good accounting of himself, that is the Formula.com. On the outside, it would be the Acura of Seattle with Jimmy King, and they are chasing Dave. And now it appears in the lower corner that the 99 boat has gotten restarted again. This is going to present some traffic down there for him, Chip.
But what is significant here is that Dave Villwock isn't just running away and hiding. We thought he had so much boat speed that these guys weren't even going to be a problem. But look at, they're staying right with him. There's Dave right there out in the lead. Just inside of him, he's got Mike Allen. But Dave Villwock is not just driving away from these guys. So that tells me that he's got to be inside in the final.
He is not driving away from him, which means, of course, Chip suggests he can't drive around him from the outside. And this is telling them that there are some serious limitations with respect to the Elam's options. They thought they could go from any lane and win. But right now, he's just got his hand full trying to get this one out of the way. 1 more lap to go now for the Elam. And Pat, it looks like Mike Allen's staying right with him.
He's right with him on the inside, sneaking up on his hip. Villwock better watch out. And the number 3 position is still Jimmy King, and that engine's backfiring a little bit as he goes by the start-finish line. But it's still running strong, and Villwock has the lead a third of the way down the backstretch. Mike Allen, number 2. Number 3, Jimmy King. Number 4 is...
That's Troxel in that position, but he's actually not in 4th place. He got restarted. 4 is the other Formula boat.
Is Jeff Bernard, and number 5 is Chris Bertram.
All right, we're going to come down for the checkered flag run now, and Mike Allen is trying to stay with Dave Villwock, but he's just not going to have enough boat speed to make it happen on this front straightaway. And for the first time on Lake Washington this weekend, the Elam Plus is going to get the checkered flag. 2nd place, Formula. 3rd place, Acura Seattle. 4th place now, he's getting the white flag coming across. That is Mr. Troxel. He's got 1 more to go. 4th place, the other Formula.com too. And the 5th place, the number 9 boat, the Miss Car Pros, with Chris Bertram driving.
I tell you what, Dave Villwock's going to have a long wait now, because I think he believed when he came in this morning that he had a big enough, strong enough boat that nobody was really going to threaten him. Now he's got to think, oh my gosh, I've got to fight for that inside. If I let the Beacon Plumbing get underneath of me, with John Theoret, I'm in trouble. If I let J.W. Myers get underneath of me, I'm in trouble. Or Jimmy King getting underneath me, I'm in trouble. He's got a long wait ahead of him.
Yeah, he's got a little weight on his shoulders now, thinking this one through. And as you say here, Chip, he could not outrun this field. And this wasn't the strongest of fields. Steve David has been running very, very well. And if J.W. Myers' boat is back up to snuff by final time, he'll be right there, too. So he's going to need a whole lot more than he's shown us thus far if he's going to win this Chevrolet Cup at Seafair.
But they're an experienced team, and they're the kind of team that can make the kind of adjustments on the Elstrom boat that put them right back out in front. But There's a lot of guys here with a lot of talent, and by talent, I don't mean just in the cockpit, but I mean guys that can also adjust their boat as well. As you said, Mike, with Dixon Smith down there on the Haas Fairweather boat, he can make those adjustments to make that boat real competitive and real quick.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Dave Villwock now. He's going to have to think about it now for quite a while yet for the afternoon, because he's in the final. Certainly, he's got a sufficient number of points to do that, but he's got a lot to think about, and he's going to want to just go away someplace quiet and ponder this whole process.
Speaking of which, Mike, we're going to go away someplace. It's called Commercial Land in just a second. Let's give you the unofficial results of this race. And we have it, the Miss Elam winning with Dave Villwock. Formula.com in second. Mike Allen at the controls. Acura of Seattle third. Formula.com followed by Miss Car Pros and the Lake Ridge Paving. We've got a hold now on some racing for a little bit because we've got lots of air show to talk about. It's a never-ending day on the lake. Come on back. More from Seafair.
And now, a driver profile brought to you by Papa Murphy's.
A college teacher and a Florida realtor, Steve David drives the Old Boy Oberto, otherwise known as the Miss Madison from Madison, Indiana. In 2005, the Old Boy Oberto was second in national points, making it the boat's best season ever. In his 5th year as the driver of the Old Boy Oberto, last season Steve David earned some well-deserved respect by taking the American Boat Racing Association's Drivers' Championship.
It took a while, but the Elstrom Elam Plus has got 400 points and a first-place finish for the first time this afternoon, and that's your Geico photo finish.
All right, thanks very much. And we have a situation out here on the Lake Ridge Paving. That's the Terry Troxel is the driver, and Chip, he was in that cockpit. The boat went dead in the water, and he didn't move out of the cockpit.
And of course, because of Terry's, strokes, we worry about that, because normally if you don't open the canopy right away, you turn a flashing light on to let the officials know you're okay. Maybe the canopy jammed, but again, because of Terry's health right now, whatever happens that's irregular, we tend to worry about it.
Well, he looks to be all right. He's getting into one of the rescue boats there, and I'm sure his boat will be towed back in. Meantime, back down to the hydroplane pits here in Lake Washington, and Bill Rocky has the winner for us.
That's right, Steve, and you're not accustomed to scrambling for points, but that was basically the name of the game that heat.
Well, after our first heat that I, got behind there, I knew I had to, we had to do a great job today to even make the final, so hopefully I think that's enough to put us in.
You had that accident last week. How is the boat handling? Has that been an effect at all?
No, the boat's great. Seattle's a tough race. It's very competitive out here, and a lot of people can win. So we're just trying to keep our nose clean and get some points, and we managed to do that. Getting a win that way sure helps secure our position in the final, though, I think.
All right, Dave, good luck in that final. Dave Villwock finally gets a win today here on Lake Washington.
All right, Bill, thanks very much. That was in Heat 3B where Dave Villwock gets his win. We want to go down to the awards presentation stage for the awards of Heat 2A.
Thank you, Steve. Our Chevrolet Cup at Seafair is off to an exciting start, and it's time for our first award of the day, and that is for Heat 2A. We'd like to bring up our sponsors from Union 76, along with our winner for Heat 2A. We'd like to welcome from Union 76, Karen Kreitz. Karen?
I'm Karen Kreitz, and on behalf of the 76 retailers in the state of Washington, I would like to congratulate Jimmy King from Acura Seattle, driving the only piston boat left in the fleet. Congratulations, Heat 2A.
I'd just like to thank the people from Union 76, Acura of Seattle, and our EnviroPly sponsors and the people of Seattle. Thanks for having us.
Thanks again to Union 76, Jimmy King. Congratulations, and Karen, thank you very much. Back to you, Steve.
All right, thanks very much. We are, we're trying to see. In fact, they're circling around over here. There they are. This is the Patriots jet demonstration team, and we'll be talking more about them in just a couple of seconds. Meantime, let's go back for the presentation of the awards for Heat 2B.
Thank you, Steve. It is time for our second award of the day at the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair. It's time for Heat 2B, and this time we'd like to bring up our sponsors from Tide. Please welcome Joy Mead to the stage.
Hi, I'm Joy Mead from Procter & Gamble, and on behalf of Tide and the independent retailers of Western Washington, I'd like to congratulate John Theoret, winner of Heat 2B in the U37 Miss Beacon Plumbing team. Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This is neat for second in a row, and the Beacon Plumbing goat is going really good. And I want to thank my team and Billy and Jane for giving us such a good ride, and the Beacon Plumbing for sponsoring us. Thank you very much.
Thanks again to our friends at Tide. Of course, Jean Fioret, congratulations, and we'll be back with our next award ceremony in just a few minutes. Steve, back to you.
All right, and Jean Fioret, congratulations. He is a man of few words, and one of them is, I know how to win races, as he has done now so far all weekend long. Beautiful day today, as our seafarers often are. Here on Lake Washington, don't go away. KIRO 7 has live continuing coverage of the Seafair Regatta and the KeyBank Air Show. The Chevrolet Cup continues from Lake Washington in just a moment. A couple little changes and maybe a touch of controversy, and Mike, you take it away.
There was controversy, and there was much discussion as the Blue Angels were flying in order to finalize Heat 2A and 2B and to get the specifics of who violated, who did not, and the appeals and such. You know, that we had a number of different problems with respect to that heat, and ultimately we have been able to determine the winner. Do we have the graphic for the final? Let's see. All right. We're going to look at 2B also. Now this is the view from Jean Fioret's boat.
It's too bad, Mike.
Fioret got across the line just fine. As you saw on the line there, we also had some issues with respect to some bearing out, some hitting of buoys, and the possibilities of encroachment. Some were fines. We had a fire, of course, with the 21 boat, which burned incredibly long. That Kevin Aylesworth being brought back to the rescue boat. He's all right, thankfully. Fireboat had to be dispatched. They put the foam on it, and they put the foam on it, and they kept putting the foam on it, and it just wouldn't give up. At long last, they finally snuffed that blaze aboard the U-21, the plumbing joint, and they towed what was a battered hulk back to the pit area. She's finished, of course, for the day. And then other damage as well. We had damage to the 13 boat, and we now understand that boat will not make the provisional. The 21 has been scratched. Look at all that foam all over the place. And note that the fire just continues to burn, Pat O'Day. It just would not quit.
We haven't had a fire on the course like that since, well, again, you mentioned 1974, 26 years.
Yeah, long time. All right, here's the official finish then. The Acura of Seattle, that's the Allison-powered U3 boat. Ed Cooper's boat being driven by Jimmy King. That was the winner. FormulaBoats.com, the second. The U7 hull, which was driven by Chris Allen was second overall, and then Chris Bertram managed to get that third place with the 9 boat. A very nice finish for him. It came to him pretty much because of the circumstances. Bad news, of course, for J.W. Myers in the 10 boat, because he had a little bit of difficulty there, and he really wanted to keep the points going for him. He had a pretty good day going up until that moment, and so there is the remainder of the field. The Acura of Bellevue was the last boat on that one. Beacon Plumbing gets the win in Heat 2B. Jean Fioret having a pretty good weekend here in Seattle. The Elam Plus in Heat 2B got a second place, and Dave Vilwalk was having some difficulty trying to figure out what kind of combination it's going to take to be a winner here on Lake Washington. He wants it badly, and the Oh Boy Oberto in 2B pulled into third position. Lake Ridge Paving, the 99 boat, which was driven by Terry Troxel, got the fourth place finish. The other FormulaBoats.com hull, the 5 hull, the sister, was the fifth place overall, sixth the Graham Trucking, and of course the plumbing joint was burned and did not.
Fred Leland hasn't had a good day today. He's had some great days here on the lake, but so far it just hasn't come his way. Let's hope for better later on.
Not been a good one for him. Steve?
These folks are enjoying their day regardless of what happens to the boaters, and when we come back, we've got more racing. The Provisional is coming up. Who will be the last boat to make the finals here at the Chevrolet Cup? We'll find out. Racing still ahead here on KIRO 7.
And now, a driver profile brought to you by Papa Murphy's.
They call him the Canadian Conqueror, and that's just what he did 3 weeks ago, winning the prestigious APBA Gold Cup. Jean Fioret became the first foreigner to claim the cup in nearly 70 years. He holds the record for the most Grand Prix racing victories by a single driver in the history of the sport. Now, Jean Fioret looks to repeat history by winning the Chevrolet Cup for a second time in a row.
provisional heat of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is presented for Seafair by Chevrolet and American Revolution.
So here is your lineup for the provisional heat. We have the formulaboats.com, the U5 boat, the U100 Todd Haas American Dream. 13, the Acura of Bellevue is now a scratch. It will not be running in the provisional. The U9 Miss Car Pros, the 99 is also a scratch, the Lake Ridge Paving. And finally, the U2.25, the Graham Trucking boat. Those are the boats. There are 4 in this provisional heat. As we have about coming up on 2.5 minutes before the race, the boats are in the water and they're circling, getting set, and not all in one piece, at least some of them. Let's take a look at the boats and the drivers. First off, the U5 boat. If we can get the baseball card up, there he is, Jeff Bernard. He's got a 3rd, 5th, and a 4th. He's pretty much like a 2nd or a 1st here, I would think, Mike.
And I think he may just be the boat to beat here in this particular heat. Jeff Bernard wants to get into that final. He's got one wounded guy, the 2.25 boat, Ken Muscatel, but he's going to have to contend with that other new guy, Chris Bertram, in the 9 boat. This could be very interesting among the young fellows.
And Guard Swanson, you've been following the formula, both boats today, those former Bud hulls.
Yeah, I have, and I just talked with the crew chief, John Rice, and he said, you know what? It doesn't matter. All we got to do is go out, race our race, we'll win the thing and get in the final. It's that simple. They really didn't even tweak the boat. They know what they have. They know they have a good driver, and they just got to win the thing.
All right, the Todd Haas U100, and we're looking around. Do we see it?
No, it's not on the race course. He's dead in the water, and Greg Hopp is standing on the bow. Looks like he's not going to make a start.
All right, Chip, and Greg Hopp looks like he's not going to get it going here today.
Nope, he's going to be a no-show. They've had bad luck all day long. All the Leland boats have. They need new equipment. That stuff's getting pretty tired.
All right, Bill Rocky is in the pits. You've been following this team, Rock, as well as others.
That's right, and we've got a disappointed crew here. They're all just kind of baffled standing in the dock, including Fred Leland here. They don't know what happened, but they do know Greg's out of the cockpit, and he's not going to make it.
All right, the U9 boat we know is out there. We've seen it circling, and Chris Bertram had a 2nd place finish in one of the heats for the Car Pros team.
He has, and he's going to be in pretty good shape here. I think he's going to be one of the racers with the rookies, because it looks like it's going to be the 2 young guys who are really going to have the best shot here.
And finally, the U2.25, Ken Muscatel, the Graham Trucking, and he's missing some tail feathers.
The wing must have come off when he left the pits, because I think there's a fairing, that's banging around back there. So he's, I think, not going to be a factor, even though he's on the inside.
All right, for those who don't know now, the provisional at 30 seconds, Mike, one boat makes it out of this and into the finals.
That's correct, makes it into the final, and obviously going up into that corner, Ken Muscatel has been radioed by his crew that he has broken parts out there, and where exactly they are, they may be on the race course, they may be laying in the water before he got to the race course, but he is walking wounded right at the moment. And on the inside, he's going to lead them down.
He's actually on the outside.
And we've got a clear and good start. Ken Muscatel on the inside, but on the outside, it's the red boat, the Formula.com. And Jeff Bernard is leading him through the lower corner, and he got a very fine start.
I think that Formula boat, though, really is the class of this fleet, and as they said when they left, they think it's really not much of a problem.
It looks like everybody wants to race, but the Formula.com, Formulaboats.com is going to lead this one down the back chute pretty cleanly, but Ken Muscatel has got a battle going along with Chris Bertram in the Miss Car Pros in 2nd place down there, and Muscatel is actually risking his boat to some extent, because as well as the possibility of hurting somebody else if any more parts fly off.
And it's all for naught, because only the winner is going to go to the provisional. It looks like Ken Muscatel might be having some mechanical problems. He's really fallen back now.
He has fallen back. He's still running, but he has fallen back. End of lap number 1, the Formulaboats.com. Jeff Bernard out front and holding on to a good chance to get into the final heat right now. And Pat O'Day, you wonder why somebody with a broken boat, knowing it's broken, would continue to race and let it get broken worse.
Well, because this is Seattle, and I feel sorry for J. Michael Kelly and Greg Hopp and Terry Troxel, who wanted so badly to finish up the show here today and weren't able to.
Couldn't make it in. All right, you see Ken Muscatel, and that fairing was once in one piece. Now it's basically shedding fiberglass every few seconds as it goes up that back chute. Your leader, there's another look at it. It's all banged up.
What that does is not only hurt the boat aerodynamically, but the boat is balanced to have that wing back there, which is, 150 pounds. So you take that 150 pounds right off the back of the boat, it totally upsets the balance of the boat. So it's really hard to drive. And like you said, Mike, I don't see the point in driving it around.
Second lap is over now, and the FormulaBoats.com leads by several rooster tails now over the Miss Car Pros. Jeff Bernard leading it, Chris Bertram in second place. Kind of figured that's the way it would wind up. And Jeff Bertram is getting some good driving experience out here. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a chance for him to see any more racing today. But the fellow who's up front, this man right here in the number 5 boat, he will see some more racing. Jeff Bernard has just earned himself for the next 1,000 feet an opportunity to start with the big boys on the final heats here at the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair. Jeff Bernard down to take the checkered flag and claim a clean win 3 laps around out front. And number 5 is your winner.
A young man, a super driver, and how pleased he must be. He'll be out here for the big show, and in the meantime, Ken Muscatel hung it up and headed back for the pits.
He'll be out there for the big show, but he'll also be the trailer, and that's no fun because you're riding in the back of the wakes of all the other boats, and sometimes when I was real tired, I don't know if I wanted to be the trailer because you really get beat up back there.
It's only happened once, 1993. Mike Hansen driving the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes at San Diego managed to come from the trailer position and win a race. Never happened before. But the good news for this young man is that Jeff is in his first final heat as an unlimited hydroplane driver, and he earned the right to be there, and that is a step forward for this young fellow's career.
And there on the screen, you're looking at a former Budweiser, and back here on the lake today entertaining us, and so great to have that equipment still in the sport and driven by a brilliant young driver, Jeff Bernard.
Still influencing the outcome, too, even though it's been spread among many teams.
Absolutely.
I really like what John Rice, the crew chief, had to say, because I believe crews are motivated by drivers, and they know they've got a young guy with a tremendous amount of talent. And as he said, they're really disappointed that they couldn't give him the tools to really show his stuff. And I think this performance is really going to motivate that crew to make this boat great for San Diego.
Well, that is your provisional heat for the Unlimiteds. We have the what's called the B main, which is also a provisional, but for the Unlimited Lights. And that will take place in just a couple of minutes. So the boat racing is coming fast and furious, and we still have more air show to do, too. A lot more going on here on Lake Washington, and we'll be right back.
Jeff Bernard has won himself an opportunity to the final heat. A berth, the last one available in this Chevrolet Cup at Seafair. He will be the trailer, but he's still plenty happy about it, and that's a Geico photo finish.
And we love it. There's a picture postcard for you right there, a photo finish. It's a race by those boats underneath the Mercer Island Floating Bridge, which is open again to traffic, happily so for all those east side travelers. And look at the boats headed this way. I've said it before, it looked like the Oklahoma Land Rush with all the Conestoga wagons heading this way.
And remember, those boats have all accumulated on this side of the bridge over 2 days or 3 days, but they're all going to leave at one time.
And remember, too, as all of the, the course has been great. All of these boats now, add all these new boats that come in here. We're going to churn things up with the B main in just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to have the finals. This course, with those rollers coming off of those boats, it could get a little choppy, couldn't it?
And not only are there more patrol boats, but there's more race boats out there too, because you've got a trailer now that's cutting skid fin wakes and rudder wakes. So the final in Seattle is always rougher than any other heat.
And we can feel those breezes picking up, too, coming out of the north, I believe, which, as you come up the back chute here, is liable to get right under your nose.
Yeah, what happens when you start up towards the floating bridge or the north, you start getting the right sponson. It's always the right sponson that starts to lift first. That's because the boats are weighted to the left because they always turn left, much like a stock car. The suspension is set up to always go left. These boats are set up to go left, which makes the right side get light when you get wind under it.
We have that northwest wind now that was predicted, and it's just about to predict it on time, too, and that'll, of course, cause a situation with respect to the entrance to turn 2 or the floating bridge turn by final time. And if the water is a little rougher than this and the wind picks up just a little bit, suddenly we've got some weather factors to pay attention to.
And Chip, as you've talked about often, those waves bounce off of those boats out there that are on the log boom, and we're going to add a lot of boats along the outside of the course here. So again, it just means more things to bounce water off of and come back at you. And so we will take a break as we watch the boats come this way, the pleasure craft that is, along with a bird. What a bird's eye view he's got. We've got your B main to see who else is going to be in the finals for the Unlimited Lights. That when we come back. And now it's time for the B main, as it's called, to see who else is going to qualify for the finals here. Only 4 boats will qualify from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that will be racing. So there's a lot of horsepower, a lot of boats, a lot of drivers that want to make a final here in Seattle for the Unlimited Lights, the B main, coming up.
The Unlimited Lights B main is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking. Drivers wanted at grahamtrucking.com.
All right, here we go. Here's your lineup. Graham Trucking, Celtic Racing, the Power Punch boat, Critical Logic, Miss Red Dot Corp, Red Hot. Also, the Jones Soda and Graham Red Real Ventures, that is. Those are the other 2 boats that are in it. And they're all out on the course just churning up this water. Something fierce right now, these lights are. So with about 3 minutes to go, we take a look at the drivers and talk about the boats. First off, the Graham Trucking boat, Bob Estes at the controls.
He's been pretty good so far, but he is not the top guy. He's got an awful lot of competition here. He may be one of the 4, though, if he finishes up.
How about the UL-13, J. Craig Fletcher driving the Celtic Racing team?
He's a rookie, and we're going to have to ask John Lynch if he's going to be allowed to race, or is he going to have to stay on the outside?
We'll bring John in a moment. He's calling the race for us. The 83, the Power Punch boat, there is Will Muncie back at the controls.
Joe Souza ran 1 heat for Will Muncie. He didn't do as well as Will. Will has been very, very good, even though he's got a little boat that could.
Bill Rocky, these lights have been sitting around for a while waiting to race.
That they have. Will Muncie getting better and better as he goes here. Last week, he got in the final and finished 5th in Tri-Cities.
They look like they're scoring up right now. I think they're still timing it. The Critical Logic, Paul Becker boat.
Paul Becker is a heck of a driver with maybe not such a good boat, but it's amazing what he can do with what he's got.
Brian Perkins at the controls of the Red Dot.
And that young man with the Red Dot boat has already shown us that he can make it happen. I'm looking for him to be finishing right up in the front end.
This is a family affair for this Perkins family guard, Swanson.
Yeah, you got that right now. I was talking to a couple of them. They said, you know what, our little young driver, he is really pushing it, but he's pushing it so much, everything keeps breaking. In fact, they said he's breaking things I didn't even know we had. So we'll see what happens on this race.
That's really bad. The Red Hot boat and Mike Webster at the controls, Chip.
He's had a rough day, rough weekend. I don't expect that to change here.
Mike Fitzsimmons, Mike Sadlin had a tough time yesterday, so he changed from No Excuses to the Jones Soda. And now they're racing.
And he had an opportunity to get in the race. We thought maybe we wouldn't even see him out here this weekend after a few earlier episodes, but he's out and he's ready to go for it with a new sponsor.
And finally in the Graham Real Ventures, the X-Man Vince Zadero.
He's either the guy that makes the perfect start or he's over by just a little bit.
So the boat's now almost inside of 40 seconds, and we've got a bunch of them out there on the water. Let us introduce to you the voice of the Unlimited Lights, who will call this race for us here on Seafair Sunday, Mr. John Lynch.
Thank you, Steve. You can see 4 wide going into the turn, and then 3 are back from the group in front. It's going to be a very interesting start. 8 boats in this field. Everybody can start on the front line. Not everybody is there yet, but the guys on the back line are starting to catch up. It looks like it's going to be Paul Becker taking his almost traditional lane 1 position here in the Miss Critical Logic. Next to him, it'll be Will Muncie. Next to him is Vince Zadaro. Then it's Bob Estes and Mike Webster. Those 5 are going to come down to the start-finish line. Down to 2, 1, Mark, looks like they're going to be on time. Yes, they are. And Mike Webster out of Reading, Pennsylvania in the Red Hot gets the boat a little bit high, but he's right in there battling, but they're going to go 4 wide into that first turn with Vince Sodaro on top in the Graham Real Ventures.
Mike Webster was very light. That right sponson we talked about got way up in the air, but look at Vince Sodaro. He's on the outside, but he's still got a shot.
And a 3-way battle for third place, and Bob Estes looked like he started to run up on top of a rooster tail. So down the backstretch, Paul Becker at the lead. Vince Sodaro right outside of him. Will Muncie and the rooster tail in third. Then it's back to Bob Estes and Mike Webster as they go down the backstretch. And you can see Vince Sodaro pulling up alongside Paul Becker. It's the Critical Logic on the inside, the Graham Real Ventures on the outside as they hit turn number 2, side by side. That's a 1974 model on the inside and a revitalized boat that was updated quite a bit 2 years ago for Vince Sodaro. And here they come deck to deck for the end of lap number 1 of 3 here at the Stan Sayers pits in the Ted Jones Race Course for the Graham Trucking Cup at Seafair. It's the B main. The top 4 advance to the final heat. It's Paul Becker in front, Vince Sodaro in second, Will Muncie and Bob Estes are battling it out for third. Those are the transfer spots. Mike Webster is out of a transfer spot right now in 5th. Then back to 6th, it's J. Craig Fletcher, and trailing the field is Mike Sadlett. And Brian Perkins and the Miss Red Dot Corporation is not running at this time, so they're not going to be in the final. It's Paul Becker and Vince Sodaro coming down the backstretch, as you see, side by side.
Paul Becker continues to carry this boat. By carrying the boat, I mean the boat really doesn't deserve to be up there. It's a driver that does great starts and really puts the boat on his back and carries it.
Going through turn number 2, Vince Sodaro's got that big skid fin water coming off the all black all the time. Graham Real Ventures. On the inside, it is Paul Becker in the Miss Critical Logic. And then back in third place, side-by-side action, Will Muncie on the inside and Bob Estes on the outside. Coming down for the end of lap 2 with 1 to go, Vince Sodaro is taking the lead in the Graham Real Ventures at the end of 2 with 1 to go. Then it's Paul Becker back in second place, as you see from the helicopter shot. And then in third, it's Bob Estes and the Miss Graham Trucking with Will Muncie and the Wyatt's Watches Power Punch in 4th on the inside. Last time through turn number 1, Sodaro with the advantage over Becker, but they're in transfer spots. Estes and Power Punch of Muncie, they are also in transfer spots. So if they can all hold positions, they'll all be in the final. Down the backstretch, it's Vince Sodaro having his best run of the weekend right now in the UL 929 with Paul Becker back in second place. And then you can see that battle for third continuing. Bob Estes there with Will Muncie back in his rooster tail.
I tell you what, Will Muncie, like Paul Becker, is doing a great job with a little boat that's old, but he's going to transfer. And John, unlike the Unlimiteds, all the boats that transfer out of here, they are on the front line, can race for the win. Is that correct?
Absolutely front line, no question. It's Vince Sodaro exiting the turn for the run down to the finish line. And Vince Sodaro is going to take the B-main here at the Graham Trucking Cup at Seafair with second place going to Paul Becker. And the battle for third is continuing. It's going to be Bob Estes taking third in the Miss Graham Trucking. Fourth place to Will Muncie and the Wyatt's Watches Power Punch. Those 4 are in the final on the front line.
Now, how happy will Will Muncie be to be in this final?
Well, how long has it been since he was in a final on the Seattle Stan Sayers pit area Ted Jones Race Course, where his father won so many times? This may be his first ever final in this race.
You know, he was down here as a child watching his father. His father really is the king of this place. He's won more races than everybody. And I know Will to be a real emotional guy, and I think he's going to attach a lot of meaning to this.
Absolutely, and it was very special when he got brought into the pit area and he realized that his boat was pitted where his dad used to be pitted here at Stan Sayers as well. So the top 4 teams will advance. It's Vince Sodaro, Paul Becker, Bob Estes, and Will Muncie. They advance to the final. We see that Muncie lost the engine cowling on the Power Punch entry, but they'll be ready to go for the final. We've been told that the final is going to be a little bit delayed for the Unlimited Lights to about 4:40 this afternoon, but a strong 8-boat final heat. 8 of them all on the front line, no trailers. You don't want to miss it. The Unlimited Lights have been spectacular entertainment in the final heat for the last several years, Chip. No reason to think that will be any different today.
John, you're the voice of these. You see them race week in and week out. Give me 3 boats that you like to win this race.
Well, they're all 3 in the final heat already. That would be, and one of them is a bit of a surprise, but I would definitely, Greg Hopp, obviously, Michael Flaherty, the 2 top teams in the circuit. I would never discount anymore. When they're running, Al Karstensen and that boat, the UL6, is very, very strong. In fact, Dave Bender, the former owner, told me earlier in the weekend, for whatever reason, that boat has always liked to run here, back when he was driving it as well. And almost won the race with that boat in 2003. They're definitely contenders, but the X-Man, if he's on with the start, he could be right there too. It should be a great final.
All right, John Lynch, Chip, gang of thousands. John, thank you. As always, a terrific job.
My pleasure. Look forward to the final just a little bit.
Oh, it's going to be exciting, but it maybe not as fun a day for the Red Dot as waiting for the tow home. Is there anything, Chip, more disheartening than standing there waiting for somebody to come out and give you a lift?
Yes, there actually is, and that's looking out your hotel room on Monday morning and seeing a boat broken in half on the trailer. That was the worst thing for me, to get up Monday morning and see the damage and the work I probably caused the crew.
Well, when we come back, we will hear from the winner. There is the 929 Graham Reel Ventures, the winner of the B Main, and we'll hear from the man who's climbing out right now, the X-Man, when we come back. Courtesy of the folks from West Marine, a look at our log boom from our log boom cam, and there are a lot of folks having a lot of fun out, maybe too much fun. Some of it may actually be illegal fun, I'm not sure, but they're having fun nonetheless.
Well, you're suspicious.
I know I am. That's the news guy in me. Hope all of you guys are having a good time out there as well. Our guard Swanson has the winner of the B Main, the X-Man, Vince Sidaro.
Hey, Steve, I'll tell you what, I'm having a good time, but this guy right here, Vince, can I call you Vinny? Because Vinny's a better race name.
That's fine. Yeah, Vinny's fine. A lot of my friends call me Vinny.
You're feeling good right now, aren't you?
We're very good. We've had a tough weekend out there, but my Graham Trucking team kept it together. We had a lot of little things go wrong, and we knew we had to be competitive in this B Main. There was 4 fast boats in this B Main, as you can see out there. Paul really pushed me pretty hard, so it wasn't easy.
You're Rookie of the Year in 2000, 2005. You get your first win. Are you feeling it today?
You know, I am feeling it. We still got some issues with the boat. It's a handful at the end of the chutes. It's really fluttering bad, but you know, it's going to be a tough final. There's some real fast boats out there, and I've really got to race a good race.
Now, real quick, I know we got one camera here. Now, who's this young lady shooting? Go ahead, Steve-O.
Sarah Moore's right here. Now, Sarah Morris used to be our video person for the old HRA, and she just decided to join our team instead.
Sarah, get a shot of the camera so the camera can get the camera.
So she's part of it. Cameras on cameras.
Good luck later on.
All right.
All right, guys, back up to you.
Guard, thanks very much. And so as they continue to party and the pictures continue to be taken of the X-Man, we're going to go get some awards in just a second, as we have the awards for heats 3A and 3B of the Unlimiteds coming up. But the party continues out on the log boom, as the air show also is going on overhead. Here are the awards. Now let's jump ahead to heat 3B of the Unlimiteds just a few minutes ago.
Thank you, Steve. Great racing all day at the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair, and it's time to find our winner for Heat 3B. Our presenting sponsor of Heat 3B is Chevrolet, and to make the presentation, here is Mike Ballard. Mike.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Mike Ballard, and on behalf of Chevrolet, I would like to congratulate Dave Vilwalk and the Miss Elam Plus team for winning Heat 3 Unlimited B. Thank you very much. All right.
Well, it's been a tough day for me here today and yesterday. Had to fight for everything, so I'm just happy to be in the final at this point. I'm really happy that Chevrolet does what they've done for me and my family and this race site and this community. I just can't thank them enough. Thank the Elstrom family for allowing me to run the race boat, and all the employees at Elstrom Manufacturing that work hard every day so we can do this. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Seattle.
Thanks again to Chevrolet, and Dave, congratulations. And Steve, back to you. Thanks, Steve. Chevrolet is our presenting sponsor of the Unlimited Provisional, and we have our final qualifier for the big dance. And to make the presentation to our winner of the Unlimited Provisional Heat, we've got Chris D'Angelo from Chevrolet.
Hi, I'm Chris D'Angelo, and on behalf of Chevrolet, I'd like to congratulate Jeff Bernard and the U5 MissFormulaBoats.com 1 team on winning the Unlimited Provisional Heat. Jeff, congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Seattle Seafair. This race is pretty cool. GM and the Formula Boat guys, we've been struggling all day getting a rudder problem fixed. We didn't want to have to do this in the provisional, but we'll take it. We're in the final. Hopefully we can get one of the Formula boats in the #1 position. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you to Chevrolet. And now I believe John Lynch is going to come up with our award ceremony for the Unlimited Lights.
Thank you, Jeff. Yes, the B main, very exciting. And into the final heat, it'll be Vince Sidaro in the all black all the time, Graham Real Ventures. Let's bring up for the presentation, Rob Graham of Graham Trucking and Vince Sidaro, the winner of the B main. And Vince is into the final heat. Rob?
Thanks, John. I've been to Seafair here, obviously, for years, and this, I can't remember a time I've been happier about the outcome. We won the G final, and now we got Vince winning the B main, and I couldn't be happier. So, on behalf of Graham Trucking, congratulations, Vince, and thank you.
Thanks, Rob. I wanted to win something for you this week, and I'm glad I got at least this one, and we're going to do our best in the final. Rob Graham's been a big supporter of Seafair and the Unlimited Lights for many years, and I really appreciate what you've done for us. Thank you very much. And thank you, Seafair.
Vince Sidaro, winner of the B main, along with Paul Becker, Bob Estes, and Will Muncie, added to the final. An 8-boat wide final start coming up a little later today. Back to you, Steve.